Alrighty, guys. Well, good afternoon for me. Just woke up and stuff, but I'm gonna try to do this really, really quickly. This is another movie slash animation review. Uh, this piece is called Ghost in the Shell. It's the anime, it's not the live action movie. You know, wink, wink. I'm not gonna go give my deep opinion because I really haven't seen that version of the movie yet, but let me just dive right into the story and then talk about his influences and all that other stuff. So, this is an anime that came out in the mid '90s. It's pretty much a part of that whole major influence in anime genre, but kind of mixed about how big it was compared to Akira because Akira was done so well. All the bad remakes of certain anime movies, they have not touched Akira yet, which I really hope they don't. But with this one, it's about it's in the future where people's consciousness are uploaded into machines, uh, and it was really based on a book. Well, not really based, but it was slightly influenced, whatever you want to call it. Even the creator kind of admitted this, is that it's from a book called Ghost in the Machine. It's pretty much like, of course, uh, the consciousness of someone uploaded inside of a machine, and how corrupted it can be. But you can take this in many different forms. There are some parts where it's like an existentialist view of how even regular people, themselves are ghosts, and that's really the ghost in the shell. They're very light on emotion and X, Y, and Z. Um, but pretty much it's this hacker, that's going around committing terrorism. He's known as a puppet master, and Major Makoto Susanagi Batso, and I can't remember the other guy, but they're trying to stop him, and it's just a good, it's pretty much what it is, cat and mouse, you know, terroristic thing. The visuals are very good. Um, like I stated, Hollywood has been influenced a little bit by this film, especially with Wachowski brothers who did The Matrix. Um, with the concept of what I just said with the whole Ghost in the Machine idea. But again, when we get to The Matrix, I'll talk about it then. And of course, with the visuals, the particular scene where the machine gun is shooting at, I think it was shooting at Batso, but it was really a shot they used in The Matrix when the machine gun Neo uses the shoot at Agent Smith. Is really recreated shot from shot. But getting on to the technical side, uh, the main reasons why I picked this up, I remember this coming out when I was a kid, and and of course I couldn't watch it because one, I didn't even know what it was, and two, with all the nudity in it, I know my mom wasn't gonna allow me to watch it at the time, so I was kind of curious to know what it was, and then it wasn't until I saw The Matrix, and then I saw what you know typed it up online, when they were talking about anime, when I was starting to get into anime, and I was like, oh, it's this movie. So, you know, um, I think they marketed this worldwide because they saw what happened with Akira, and I want to say, I don't know if they were trying to hit a landmark, but the good thing is that somebody was influenced, and like I said, even Hollywood had fully remade this movie, even though it's you know, uh, for me not seeing it yet, the reviews are kind of mixed. So we can have a discussion about it because there's many animation pieces and films, highly known ones that they've remade. But of course, like I said, the main one, which is Akira, they haven't touched. There have been some influences by it, and then possibly vice versa. Because I discovered something the other day that you know, I don't know who, it possibly isn't even a ripoff, but it's like a subconscious, influence because I hear that people all the time, they make a claim saying that you got this from me, verbatim, but they can also claim that I never even heard of your work. And I haven't heard of well, I have heard a story like that, but I haven't heard of it to the point where they want to sue him over it. So again, uh, might talk about that a little bit later when I get to some certain other films, going back to some of the older reviews that I've done. Because technically things in Hollywood, they're really not original anymore. Someone has thought up the idea. It's just that how you do the execution is different, or how you approach it is different. You know, but again, I think more of Quentin Tarantino. I've been watching some of his interviews lately, and he's been hit with that criticism a little bit, but he really said that's not really the reason. And it isn't until he coincidentally watched the older movie and realized where he got his influence from. But sometimes it's a subconscious thing. It comes to you in a dream. Who knows? It's just that it's funny to see this banter go back and forth. So, even the writing teacher of mine has said that, ideas really aren't original. It's just that who executed it a little bit better. So, also this is a manga. The manga is pretty old. They really didn't continue it, even though they continued the anime series. This movie has a sequel as well as a TV series. The TV series is also pretty good. Has a very good soundtrack. I even have it. So, I think it's called Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and it's just more, military story-esque. The best way I could describe it a little bit is like a little bit like Tom Clancy, but of course Tom Clancy, he has more, credibility because I'm assuming he's actually served and he got good consultants, even on stuff he didn't know about. But on the technical side, one important thing I did not get to mention, this also, it really brought me back to even American animation and anime at the time that I really loved. It really brought back the classic cell shading before it went to digital. Yeah, and like I said, on Batman Beyond, they didn't really go to digital until like around 2000. So you can really tell the difference even in anime. Like, to be honest, the original way they did it, it felt like it was a character and a visual of its own, depending on what piece it is. I know Akira definitely was like that. But, it was very compelling telling the story, but it was some other classic anime, Gundam Wing, of course, Sailor Moon, Yu Yu Hakusho, Ronin Warriors, that anime I grew up watching in the 90s, and a little bit in 2000s, even Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon. I'm not trying to hate on the digital because it is a little bit faster and a little bit cleaner. A lot of the cleanup and mess up, really does make the difference, because I noticed in Batman Beyond, one of Terry's eyes was kind of off in one episode, and I bet they, digitally now, when you look at it, on a certain TV or format, you don't see those mistakes anymore. But they were even saying that with Justice League, that they did a couple of mistakes that, they thought, you can get away with. That's the one thing they hate about HD, screening. So, but with Justice League, that did come out in 2000 on digital. So I don't know what happened there. But, I want to say Ghost in the Shell, this first installment was the only digital, not digital, cell shaded work of this particular piece. I can't really remember I think the second one was already, yeah, that's right. This had came out, and then I think later the TV series had came out. Or I could be wrong about that. I know they had to do some kind of sooner follow-up right after this movie, but you could look it up online. The point I'm trying to make is that, I personally know, this is the only one that has the classic cell shaded animation. Everything else I've seen of Ghost in the Shell has been digital. So, again, I love this series for what it did. It really had me thinking about my visuals and aesthetics, and of course, militaristic stories, as well as existential stories, but I think the Matrix that really topped that one, and No Country for Old Men. But yeah, that's pretty much my review. If you're an anime fan, this is also a definite classic for you to see, at least get schooled on. I don't know if there's a younger audience, but and again, I might talk about this in the Animatrix. The thing is, it's like hip hop music. In my opinion, how distasteful and bad it's become. And a little bit with the anime it has. It's been following a certain demographic and trope, and look at the classic stuff. You really have to give respect to it. Even some of the properties that I'm not a huge fan of, or even you will catch me watching, like me stopping everything, sitting down and watching, still have respect for it, because without it, it wouldn't be what it is now. So, again, I'm talking more about that in Animatrix. That's pretty much my review, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.